Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In this brief presentation, I will talk about Islamic mortgages in light of diminishing Musharakah financing. Diminishing Musharakah is a form of declining partnership between Islamic financial institution and customer, generally used to finance real estates. When a customer requests to an Islamic bank for financing to purchase an asset, Islamic Bank participates in the ownership of the asset by contributing required finance. A certain portion, for example 20%, must be contributed by the customer. Total equity of bank is divided into units of smaller amounts which are purchased by the client in installments. Under this mode of financing, one of the partners, usually customer, promises to buy the equity share of the other partner, usually Islamic Bank. And this sale purchase happens gradually until the title of the equity is completely transferred to customer from the bank. Buying and selling of equity units must be independent of partnership contract and must not be stipulated in partnership contract. Generally, Islamic Bank rents out his share to the client and earn rentals. Any profit accruing on the property is distributed among the co-owners according to agreed ratio. However, losses must be shared in the proportion of equity. Diminishing Musharakah, in addition to other asset-based financing products, is used for house financing by Islamic financial institutions and has replaced successfully conventional mortgages. As per 2018 accounting record, application of diminishing Musharakah is not very high in portfolios of global Islamic banking industry, except the United Kingdom and, as you will see later, Pakistan. Share of diminishing Musharakah is less than 1% in global financing portfolio of Islamic banking industry. Share of diminishing Musharakah in financing portfolio is 34% in United Kingdom, followed by South Asia 5% and less than 1% in all other regions including Southeast Asia, GCC, MENA, ex-GCC and Iran, and finally Iran. Diminishing Musharakah in Pakistan is very popular, as you can see. From 2013 to 2019 data is presented, and you will find as low as 29.4% in 2017 Q3 and high 39.1% in 2016 Q3. So the range is above 30%, you can say, in Pakistan. This is the model of Islamic mortgages under diminishing Musharakah financing. Number 1, customer contact to an Islamic financial institution to finance the assets on diminishing Musharakah basis, and customer makes his contribution of a certain percentage. Usually 15-20% is contributed by the customer, rest is provided by the Islamic Bank. Number 2, Islamic Bank contact the vendor. Number 3, house is bought as a joint ownership of Islamic Bank and customer. Number 4, cash payment is made to the vendor by Islamic financial institution. Number 5, house is given to the customer for use. Number 6, customer is paying monthly rental to the bank. Number 7 and 8, equity units are purchased by the customer. and payment is made by the customer to the bank. The steps I list down here. If you want, you can read in detail. To clear the concept, here I present an elementary illustration of Islamic mortgages under diminishing musharakah. A customer wants to purchase a house value 1 million and requests to an Islamic bank for financing to be refunded in 8 years through 8 equal installments. Under diminishing musharakah arrangement, the equity of bank is divided into 8 units which the customer will acquire annually. A certain portion, for example 20% of the total price, is to be contributed by customer, and rest 80% is provided by the Islamic bank at the time of acquisition of the property. House is the joint property of Islamic bank and customer. After acquisition, the house is handed over to customer and IFI is renting his share in the property to customer. Suppose annual rent of the property is 100,000 net of repair and insurance, etc. So that's how things works. Look at the end of year 0. The balance equity of the bank is 800,000. At the end of year 1, customer paid principal amount of 100,000. He bought one equity share from the bank equity. Rental payment is 80,000. Why 80,000? Because bank is the owner of 80% of the property. So amount of installment is 180,000. And equity of the bank, balance in equity of the bank is 700,000. With the passage of year number 2, another 100,000 is paid by the customer to the bank to buy the second equity unit from the bank. But now he will pay 70,000 as a rent. Why he will pay 70,000? Because for this year, the equity of the bank is 70%. And equity of the customer has increased from 20% to 30%. So amount of installment would be 170,000. And equity of the bank leftover is 600,000. In a house of 1 million, the equity of bank is 600,000 at the end of year 2, and equity of customer is 400,000. Year 3, 100,000 for purchase of equity unit, 60,000 for rent payment, 160. Year 4, 100,000 for purchase of equity unit, 50,000 rent, installment 150,000. Year 5, installment 140,000. Year 6, installment 130,000. Year 7, installment 120,000. And year 8, the last equity unit of the bank is purchased by the customer at the end of year 8 by paying 100,000. Rent is only 10,000 because now the equity share of bank is only 10%. So the amount of installment is 110,000. As you can see, the customer is purchasing the equity unit from the bank at the rate of 100,000 per equity unit, and then customer is paying the rental for the year, which is higher in earlier years and lower in the later years. So at the end of the 8 years, with the purchase of last equity unit of the bank for 100,000, the whole title of the property shall be transferred to the customer. How it is different from conventional bank? Under conventional bank, interest is charged, which is determined on the basis of demand and supply of the capital, while under Islamic financial system, rent of the property is charged, determined through demand and supply of real assets, ideally. Hence, return under conventional mortgages is not linked with utility creation, while under Islamic house financing, financial sector is linked to the real sector. Without having a linkage between financial and real sector, it is a zero-sum game, which does not add any value to the society as a whole. As conventional banks do not own the underlying asset, hence sharing of risk and reward of the property is not required. While Islamic financial institutions are co-owners of the property and share risk and rewards attached to ownership. Return for conventional banks start from the date of loan extension facility, which is not the case under Islamic financial system. Under Diminishing Musharakah model, return is due when the property is ready for use by the customer, either through an acquisition or through construction. Conventional banks will continuously receive the installments containing interest and principal even if the property is not usable and needs some repair. During the repair period, Islamic bank cannot receive the rent. If property is not ready for use, you cannot charge the rent. Return of conventional banks is fixed as interest, while Islamic financial institutions will receive rentals as well as share in appreciation or depreciation of the value of the asset. Summary of Sharia rulings. Diminishing Musharakah is a form of partnership in which one of the partners promises to buy the equity share of the other partner gradually until the title to the equity is completely transferred to him. It is necessary that buying and selling of equity shares should not be stipulated in partnership contract. Contract of buying and selling must be independent of partnership contract because it is not permitted that one contract is entered into as a condition for concluding the other. It is important to understand and appreciate the result of forming two contracts, for example, one for partnership and other of sale and purchase. For example, if sale and purchase is not taking place later on due to any reason, this will not invalidate the contract of partnership. Contract of diminishing musharaka must not include a clause whereby any of the partners is allowed to withdraw his share in capital. Under shirkatul milk, joint ownership in property, it is not appropriate to allow a partner to withdraw his share, as it can be done only by selling the asset. The design of diminishing musharaka instrument in bank financing dictates that partnership should be designed in such a way that one partner should have a reasonable amount of time to purchase the equity stake of another partner. Maintenance and insurance, etc., are the liability of all owners. Hence, it is not permitted to stipulate that one partner, the customer, prospective owner, shall bear all these costs. Profit, income, benefit sharing ratio must be clearly determined. It is permitted to agree on a ratio of profit sharing which is disproportionate to equity stake. It is also permitted to agree on a fixed profit sharing ratio or variable according to changing equity stake. However, loss must be shared according to equity stake. It is not permitted to stipulate that a partner shall receive lump sum amount of profit or a percentage of capital. Binding promise of sale and purchase of equity gradually at an agreed price at the time of transaction of sale of equity shares is allowed. However, it is not allowed to stipulate the sale purchase of equity shares at their original or face value, as this will constitute a guarantee of capital to selling partner, which is contradicting with rule of partnership. It is allowed to divide the equity stake into share of smaller amount so that buyer can purchase any number of shares as per his convenience. Renting or leasing the share of another partner is allowed for a specified amount and for whatever duration. It is rather desirable that in a joint property, one partner should rent out his share to other partner, and if he is not willing, then to someone else, and even then after consulting the joint owner in the property. So here I illustrated the basic concept of Islamic mortgages in light of diminishing musharakah. I will present the critical evaluation of the Islamic mortgage practice in another presentation. Thanks a lot for watching. Your comments and questions are more than welcome. My email address is given. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.